Hey guys, it's me, Miss Norris, and today I'd like to share a fun Valentine's Day read aloud with you of the story Arthur's Great Big Valentine. The story Arthur's Great Big Valentine was written in 1989 by Lillian Hoban, and it tells the story of Arthur and a great big Valentine. If you're ready to hear the story, I'm ready to share it with you. Here we go. Arthur's Great Big Valentine. It was a snowy Valentine's Day. Arthur was getting ready to go out. He put on his boots and his scarf. He put on his hat and his mittens. Violet was making valentines. She drew red and yellow flowers and big red hearts. I'm making 10 valentines, she said. 5 for my best friends and 5 for my not so best friends. How many are you making, Arthur? So it's a snowy Valentine's Day. Arthur is going out. His sister is making valentines for her best friends and her not so best friends. And she wants to know how many Arthur is making. None, said Arthur. I don't have any best friends. I thought Norman was your best friend, said Violet. He was, said Arthur, but he got mad when I played Tarzan. I was swinging from a branch where he was sitting. The branch broke and he fell down and ripped his new jacket. Now he has a secret club and he will not let me be in it. So Arthur's not going to make any valentines because he doesn't have a best friend. And when Violet asks about his friend Norman, he says, we're not friends anymore because he's mad at me. You can make valentines for your not so best friends, said Violet. All of my not so best friends are in Norman's secret club, said Arthur. I think I'll go have a snowball fight by myself. You can't have a snowball fight by yourself, said Violet. Yes, I can, said Arthur. Watch me. Arthur went outside. He made a snowball and threw it high in the air. So she says, maybe you can make other people valentines. And he says they're all in Norman's club. And he went outside to have a snowball fight by himself, which his sister doesn't think he can do. He threw it up. Then he ran fast so that he would be under the snowball when it came down. But he did not run fast enough. The snowball came down splat right in front of him. Well, said Arthur, lots of times I'm under it when it comes down, so I can have a snowball fight by myself. So he's throwing it up and trying to hit himself by running and getting under it. And sometimes he gets it and sometimes he doesn't. He can have it by himself. I will have a snowball fight with you, said Violet. I will be your friend. Little sisters can't be your friend, said Arthur. They cry if a snowball hits them. I promise not to cry if you promise not to pack your snowballs too hard, said Violet. Okay, said Arthur, I promise. Violet ran to get her coat and hat and mittens and boots. Arthur practiced hitting himself with snowballs. So his sister's trying to be a good friend to him, and he says that sisters can't be friends, but she says she'll have a snowball fight with him anyways, if he promises not to make those snowballs too hard. He threw a snowball up high and ran very fast, but when the snowball came down, Arthur was not under it. Wilma was coming down the path, and Wilma was under it. Splat! The snowball landed right on Wilma's head. Uh-oh. So Arthur's playing by himself. He didn't realize Wilma was coming, and instead of him being under the snowball like he intended, Wilma was. I don't bet she'll be very happy about that. That was not very nice, Arthur, said Wilma. I came over to invite you and Violet to my Valentine party, but maybe I'll just invite Violet. I don't care, said Arthur. Who else is going to your party? Norman and his little brother Tony, said Wilma, and Peter and John and Sally and Tessa. Then I would not come anyway, said Arthur. Wilma, called Violet, do you want to have a snowball fight with me and Arthur? So Wilma was coming to invite them to a party, but now she says, maybe I'll just invite Violet. And Arthur says, well, who else was going? And it's everybody that he doesn't think wants to be his friend. And Violet says, would you like to join us in a snowball fight? I can't, said Wilma. I'm giving out invitations to my Valentine party. She gave Violet a big red heart. It said, my Valentine party. And it had a blue balloon pasted on it. Inside there was a picture of pink frosted cookies and little heart-shaped candies in vanilla ice cream. Underneath the picture it said, the candy is red, the balloons are blue. It will be a great party if you can come too. So Wilma can't have a snowball fight because she's delivering Valentines. And the Valentines are big red hearts that have pictures of goodies. And they say that the party will be even better if she can come. Sounds fun. Arthur looked at the picture, then he made another snowball. Where is Arthur's invitation? Asked Violet. I do not want one, said Arthur quickly. Norman is coming to the party, so I can't. That is a shame, said Wilma. We're having cinnamon candy and pink frosted cookies and vanilla ice cream and hot chocolate. You should make up with Norman. So Violet's still looking out for her brother and says, where's his invitation? And Arthur said he didn't want one. And Wilma suggests that he makes up with Norman because this party's going to be fun with lots of delicious goodies. Norman will not speak to me, said Arthur. I can't make up with him. You should give Norman a Valentine, said Wilma. Then you could be friends again. I made 10 Valentines, Violet said to Wilma. The best one is for you because you're my best friend. I will bring it to the party. Can I see the other Valentines? Asked Wilma. Okay, said Violet. So Wilma suggests making up by making a Valentine, and Violet says that she's made her best one for Wilma, and Wilma asks if she can see the others too. And they're excited. Violet and Wilma started toward the house. Hey, yelled Arthur. I thought we were having a snowball fight. I will be back soon, called Violet. Phooey, said Arthur. Little sisters are no fun. Arthur sat down. He drew a heart in the snow. So Violet has left the snowball fight, and Arthur decides once again that little sisters are no good, but is drawing in the snow. In the heart he wrote, Violet, you are no fun, and this is true. If I had a friend, it would not be you. Hey, Arthur, called Peter. Is Violet at home? Peter was pulling a sled. On the sled, there was a box. So Arthur wrote a kind of a mean poem to his sister that said if he was going to have a friend, it wouldn't be her. And Peter comes along and asks where Violet is, and he has a box on his sled. Inside the box, there were big and little envelopes. What are those? Asked Arthur. Valentines, said Peter. I made a whole bunch that I'm selling. I deliver for free if you buy one. I have a whole stack to deliver to Violet. So Peter has made Valentines and is selling them and delivering them. And he's there at the house because he's delivering some to Violet. A whole stack. Peter looked in the box. He pulled out all the envelopes that were marked violet. Are there any for me? Asked Arthur. Peter looked in the box again. Nope, he said, not one. But you could buy some and send them to yourself. Here, these are 2 for 25 cents. Peter took out a valentine and showed it to Arthur. So there was a bunch of valentines for Violet. There were none for Arthur. But Peter said you could buy some and send them to yourself. And he started showing Arthur the valentines that he had made. It was a heart-shaped flower with a picture of a bee on it. It said, "Be my Valentine, and I will call you Honey." Pretty cute, isn't it? Said Peter. You could send a couple of these to yourself. I'm not sending any Valentines to myself, yelled Arthur. So it's a pretty Valentine, but Arthur says, I am not sending a Valentine to myself. Silly. Okay, said Peter. I just thought you might like to get one. Peter went to deliver Violet's valentines. Arthur sat down again. He drew another heart in the snow. Inside the heart, he wrote, Valentines are stupid. Some people get many. I don't care if I never get any. So Peter takes the hint. He doesn't want to send himself a Valentine. And Arthur makes another kind of snarky Valentine that said he doesn't care if he doesn't get any Valentines because they're stupid. Such language. Plop! Some snow trickled down Arthur's neck. Someone bumped against his back and tumbled over him. It was Norman's little brother, Tony. Hey, yelled Arthur. Why don't you watch where you're going? I'm sorry, Arthur, said Tony. I did not see you because I was walking backward. So Arthur is sitting by himself and his not so best friend Norman's brother Tony trips on him. And he gets kind of mad and he says, sorry, I was just walking backwards. Well, that's kind of fun. We'll turn around and walk frontward, yelled Arthur. I can't, said Tony. I'm making backwards tracks in the snow to trick Norman so he'll think I went the other way. Arthur looked at Tony's tracks. Oh, that is pretty neat, he said. It does look like you went the other way. Why do you want to trick Norman? So he's walking backwards, so if his brother tries to follow his footprints, he thinks he went that way, but he went the other way. And Arthur thinks it's neat, but he also wants to know why he's trying to hide from his brother. Because he made a secret Valentine, and I know the secret, said Tony, and now he's after me so I don't tell before he delivers it. Who is Norman's Valentine for? Asked Arthur. I will tell you if you promise not to tell Norman I told, said Tony. So Tony's hiding because Norman doesn't want him to tell his secret. And Arthur asks him the secret, and he says, I'll tell you, but don't tell him I told you. That is easy, said Arthur. I'll never tell Norman anything anymore. Do you promise? Asked Tony. I promise, said Arthur. Cross your heart and hope to die? Asked Tony. Cross my heart and hope to die, said Arthur. Okay, said Tony. And he whispered something in Arthur's ear. Arthur opened his eyes very wide. Do you mean it? He asked. You promise not to tell, said Tony. So Tony whispered the secret, and whatever the answer was something that very much surprised him. Surprised Arthur. Tony says, you promise not to tell? Arthur, he promises. Oh boy, said Arthur. I have to do something about this fast. Arthur started to walk away. You promised, yelled Tony. Cross your heart and hope to die. I know, said Arthur, and I'm not telling. Then where are you going? Asked Tony. So whatever the secret is has put Arthur into motion, and it's making Tony worry that Arthur's going to spill his secret, and he's off to do something. I'm not going anywhere, said Arthur. I'm just making tracks in the snow. Watch me. Violet and Wilma came outside. What are you doing, Arthur? Called Wilma. He's making tracks in the snow, said Tony. So Arthur's making tracks in the snow. Everyone is watching and wondering what he is doing and why. What do you think he might be doing? I don't know. Arthur's making a big heart with his tracks, said Violet. He is making a valentine. Arthur made a big heart in the snow. So, whatever the secret was, Arthur's answer was to make a big heart-shaped valentine in the snow. You can see it right there. Inside the heart, he wrote a poem. You are my pal and my buddy too. Please be my friend, Norman. I really miss you. So he used his feet and his brains to write a really sweet valentine and a really big valentine for what he hopes to be his friend Norman. I hope Norman sees it and loves it. Just as Arthur finished, Norman came down the path. He was holding a big white envelope. When he saw Arthur's valentine, he stopped and read it. You are my pal and my buddy too. Please be my friend, Norman. I really miss you. So here comes Norman, and he's looking down and he's reading the valentine, and he has a big envelope. Do you really mean it, Arthur? He asked. I really mean it, said Arthur. Well, said Norman, I have a valentine for you too. Norman gave Arthur the envelope. Inside there was a big red heart. On the heart there was a picture of red and blue flowers. Under the picture it said, Arthur, roses are red, violets are blue. I wish we were friends again. There's no one like you. So the secret was that Norman's valentine was for Arthur. And Arthur really missed Norman. Norman really missed Arthur too. And he wishes they were friends because there's no one like him. Oh boy, said Arthur. Oh boy. Now Arthur can come to the Valentine party, said Violet. That's right, said Wilma, if he promises not to throw any more snowballs at me. But Arthur promised to have a snowball fight with me, said Violet. So Arthur and Norman are making up. Violet is excited because now he'll go to the Valentine's party. Wilma is excited as long as he doesn't throw any more snowballs. And now Violet might be a little disappointed because they were going to have a snowball fight. Arthur looked at Norman. Norman looked at Arthur. Let's go, buddy, yelled Arthur. Come on, pal, yelled Norman. Me too, shouted Tony. I get first shot, called Violet. She made a big snowball and threw it. It landed splat on Arthur's head. So they all had a big snowball fight, and Wilma joined in too. So everyone's made up. Everyone's having a big snowball fight. Then they went to Wilma's Valentine party. They had ice cream and cinnamon candy and frosted cookies and hot chocolate. This is my best Valentine's Day, said Arthur. He made a big heart with the cinnamon candies in his vanilla ice cream. Look at all these kids having a fun Valentine's Day party at Wilma's house with cinnamon candy and frosted cookies, hot chocolate, and ice cream. And inside that heart, he wrote, friends. The end. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you really enjoyed the story, Arthur's Great Big Valentine. If you did, please hit that thumbs up button at the bottom of the page. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for your support. It really means a lot to me. If you're not a subscriber yet, please click that subscribe button down at the bottom of the page. And don't forget to click the bell so that you're notified when there's new content. I hope to see you all again real soon, and I hope you all have a very happy Valentine's Day. Love you. Bye.